Hello everyone, welcome to this video on non-destructive testing. So currently in the previous videos we've been discussing details about ultrasonic testing methods, and we covered the different types of ultrasonic testing methods like resonance testing, through transmission technique, pulse echo testing, etc. Now in this current video lecture, we'll be discussing more about the other different methods such as contact testing, immersion testing, normal beam and straight beam testing, and the different types of scan or the result interpretation, and also the accessories and instruments that are used in ultrasonic testing methods. Now, the different other types of ultrasonic testing methods also includes contact testing methods, immersion testing methods, normal and straight beam testing methods, angle beam testing method, and dual crystal probe. First, we can move on to contact testing method. In contact testing method, as you can see, you have a transducer here. The transducer is placed on the surface, and the transducer and the surface, they are separated by a layer of fluid. A thin fluid is provided. The thin fluid layer is provided between the transducer as well as the object, so as to remove the air in between them, so that better sound signals can be transmitted. So in the contact type, as in the name mentioned, the transducer will be in direct contact with the object, but it will be separated slightly by a thin layer of fluid. That thin layer of fluid is acting as a coupling. It helps in better transmission of the ultrasonic waves into the test specimen. Now, all the elements are actually protected inside a rugged casing. You have a very strong casing inside which all the transducer components are placed, and it can the wear resistance is very high. So, in order to improve the wear resistance, we have used wear resistant materials inside and also on the surface. Now it is designed, the transducers are designed in such a manner so that it is easy to grip and move the surface along. It is easy to move and grip the transducer and move it along the surface, separated by a thin fluid tab. Now we move on to the second one, which is called immersion testing method. As we have mentioned before, in contact testing method, a couplant or a liquid is always provided, so that the air gap that is occurring between the transducer and the surface is removed, so that the ultrasonic the sound waves can be transmitted better. So in immersion testing method, a waterproof probe is used, and it is placed at a certain distance from the test specimen. This method provides better coupling. That is, it is immersed inside a fluid, so there is better coupling, and the strength of the ultrasonic signals that are transmitted can also be improved. So the main advantage, as mentioned, is that they have uniform coupling conditions, so that longitudinal and transverse waves can be generated with the same probe and can be transmitted with the same intensity through the specimen. Now it is used in cases where large installations are there, or in also for laboratory techniques. This is the immersion testing method. You have a transducer which is waterproof, and water is acting as the couplant. This helps in removing the air so that sound signals can travel better, and transverse as well as longitudinal waves can find defect inside the specimen. Now we are moving on to the third method, which is the normal beam testing method. As it is quite evident from the figure, the transducer is placed in direct contact with the surface, and a normal beam or a beam at right angles to the surface is sent through. The signal is projected perpendicularly into the specimen, and the transducer is in direct contact. If there are at all any defects, the sound signal will deflect from the surface and it will reach the transducer, and also the signals that are unaffected will reach the back wall, the lowermost wall, and will get reflected back. So this will be the image on the CRT screen. This is the pulse echo, this is the back wall echo if there are no defects. If there are any defects, a peak will be shown on the display device, which shows that there is a defect. Now, one of the issues with this is that not all defects are parallel to the surface. There can be inclined defects. There are defects which are inclined to the surface. Using this normal beam testing method, it is difficult to analyze completely the defects that are always inclined to the surface. So this is one of the main disadvantages. Now here, the transducer of the probe is also acting as well as the transmitter as well as the receiver. So both transmitter and receiver is placed inside the transducer itself. Now the next one is the angle beam technique. In angle beam technique, we can transmit ultrasonic waves to specimens and not at right angles, but at any other angle. That is, the preferred angle is always between 35 to 80 degree. So this helps in detecting defects which are always inclined to the surface at these mentioned angles. So they can be used to find defects whose orientation is not suitable for detection by normal beam technique. That is, the defects that cannot be detected in normal beam techniques can be found out using angle beam technique. This is the angle with respect to the vertical angle 35 degree to 80 degree. We can send ultrasonic sound waves into the specimen to locate different types of defects. This is the angle beam technique. Now we move on to the dual crystal testing method. As it is clearly mentioned, it consists of two crystals, a transmitting crystal and a receiving crystal. These are separated from each other by an acoustic barrier. Now it has two independently operating. These two are independently operating, and it is useful for measuring thickness also. One of the main disadvantages is that it can be used for only small thickness materials, and also for inspecting defects that are closer towards the surface, because the strength of the ultrasonic signals generated is low. So this is again another type of crystal testing technique. Now we have to introduce the concept of couplant. This couplant becomes prominent in contact testing as well as in immersion testing method. The main purpose of a couplant is actually to remove the air gap between the transducer and the test material, so that the sound signals can travel better with a higher intensity. It is necessary in order to reduce the acoustic impedance mismatch between the air and the solid. So there always be an acoustic impedance mismatch between air and solid. So we need to remove this air. In order to remove this air, we can use couplants. And the couplant, what it does is it displaces the air and it makes it possible for the more intensive sound energy to enter into the test specimen, so that we can get a better reflecting signal and we can find the defects easily. The main types of fluids that we can use are oil, glycerin, or water. They can be typically used. And also, when shear waves are to be transmitted, the fluid that is used should have a higher viscosity. So among them, we can go for oil when shear waves are to be transmitted, so that the fluid will always have a higher viscosity. We can transmit better sound signals into the material and we can get higher accurate values. Now we want to the equipments that are used in ultrasonic testing. The equipments for ultrasonic testing, they are actually very diverse. Three main components are used: transducers, instrumentation techniques, as well as calibration materials. First, we move on to the category of transducers. Transducers, they come in different forms, different shapes. As you can see, the transducer is what creates the sound energy. They can act as the transmitter as well as the receiver. These transducers are classified in a number of ways. That is, as you can see in the screen, they can be classified as first one. Here is the contact or immersion one. Second one, single or dual element, single crystal or dual crystal. Third one, it can be used for producing a normal beam as well as an angle beam transducer. So while selecting the transducer, we need to choose the desired frequency, because the ultrasonic sound wave always depends on the frequency. So based on the frequency, the bandwidth, and the size of the specimen, we have to choose the transducer. Now, first one, we moving to the contact transducer. This was earlier mentioned in the contact testing method. Contact transducers are generally designed for vigorous use, and usually they have a wear plate on the surface. They are highly wear resistant, because the transducer needs to be moved along the specimen in order to be separated from the in order to be to undergo resistance, or in order to develop resistance, you need to have a wear plate on the bottom surface. And also the different ergonomics designs are also planned for ease of gripping while scanning along the surface. So these are all the categories of contact transducer. You have a case, the epoxy resin, the piezoelectric element that helps in generating the sound waves. You have the electrodes, the backing material. You have the signal wire. You have the wear plate at the bottom that is highly wear resistant, which since the transducer has to be moved along the surface. This is one of the type of transducer. And also, the contact transducers are available in two piezoelectric crystals. In dual crystals, we have learned it. You have a transmitting as well as a receiving crystal. Two piezoelectric crystals are there in one housing. These are called dual element transducer. One is acting as a transmitter and the other is acting as a receiver. Now, this arrangement improves the surface resolution. That is, the defects that are closer towards the surface, it can be easily identified, and the resolution of that surface also improves. And also, one of the main disadvantages is that the thickness of the specimen is always limited. We cannot go for high thickness materials. And also, we can use these methods for finding the thickness of the material. Now it is we move on to the angle beam transducer. The angle beam transducer usually sends signals at a refractive angle theta r with respect to the normal. They help in identifying defects that cannot be detected by a normal beam. The incident wedge angle theta r is used with the material velocity to determine the refracted shear wave according to the Snell's law of refraction. Transducers used can either be fixed or variable wedge angles. The common application of the transducers come in the inspection of weld. Next comes the immersion transducers. Immersion transducers are designed to transmit sound waves where the transducer and specimen both are immersed in a liquid. We have again discussed this technique before. We have a uniform couplant medium, that is the transducer is soundproof and the workpiece here. Both of them are inserted in a particular fluid. The type of fluid depends on the frequency and test size of the specimen, etc. Now, since both of them they are all waterproof and the air is removed, you can send better sound signals. So these are called immersion transducers. These immersion transducers are made in different shapes, such as in planar shapes, cylindrical, or spherical acoustic lens shape. Now we move on to the second category. This is the instrumentation. The ultrasonic equipment is usually purchased to satisfy different inspection conditions. That is, it is not only used to find out the defects, but in certain cases, they can also be used to inspect certain other things as well as find the thickness also in certain cases. And the test specimen can be classified in a number of ways. They can be portable, which can be transported very easily, or the item can be stationary. It can be contact type or it can be an immersion type. It is manually operated or it is automated completely. And also there are further classifications such as some examples are D meters, flow detectors, industrial and special application instruments, etc. Now we'll move on to one of them, which is the D meter or the digital thickness gauge. It is it is used to find out the thickness. That is a basic purpose. D meters or digital thickness gauge instruments, they provide a digital signal or a digital readout. They are designed primarily for corrosion and erosion applications, inspection applications, to find the extent of corrosion on the surfaces. Some instruments, they can provide the users with both the digital readout as well as a signal display. Also, you can also find the signal that is shown here and also display also. The distinct advantage of these units is that they can allow the user to evaluate the signal also. The signal can be found out. So this D meters can be used to find defects inside a material and can even be used to find out the thickness of certain materials. This is one of the instruments. Okay, now we move on to the calibration standard. So before stating the calibration standard in ultrasonic testing, we need to know what is calibration. Calibration is actually a process in which a certain instrument is actually configured to known values. For example, you can take the case of a simple thermometer. It is a calibrated instrument. So whenever we are using it to find temperatures, when you use a thermometer, you can directly get the values. So since this is because it has been calibrated with proper standards, so this calibration provides the inspector with a means for comparing test signals to unknown measurements, right? So we can compare the test signals whose value we have known to unknown measurements from which we can get the values. Calibration standard comes in a variety of material types and configurations due to the diversity of inspection applications. Now, calibration standards are typically manufactured from the materials having the same acoustic property. In this case, in ultrasonic testing, these calibration standards are typically manufactured from the materials having the same acoustic property as that of the test specimen. So different calibration devices are used. Thickness calibration standards, they are used to find the thickness. They may be flat or curved for pipe and tubing application. They consist of simple variations in material thickness. There are also distance and amplitude standards. You can use bottom sized hole bottom sized hole or side drill holes. And also certain calibrations are used for angle beam inspections. When you are using angle beam inspections and the flaws are not parallel to the surface, we can also use different angle beam inspectors can be used. And also these for the standards, we can use drilled holes, notches, and geometry configurations. So all these are different calibration standards that are used in ultrasonic testing. Finally, we move on to the data presentation part. That is, you have already performed ultrasonic inspection and you have received different types of data. how can you represent or how can you interpret that the defect is like this, the defect has this and this much thickness or it's at a depth from the surface. So we need to represent those informations from ultrasonic testing in the form of different graphs or in the form of different photographs. Now we are using three different formats. One is called the A scan, second is called the B scan, and third one is called the C scan. This is the figure or representation for A scan. This is the representation from the output from the CRT to what you are getting from the digital output, what you are getting the signal. Signal amplitude is there on the y-axis and time is there on the x-axis. The signal amplitude indicates the amount of received ultrasonic energy as a function of time. Now, this is the pulse signal, right? The pulse signal can be detected here. The energy that is being transmitted and also the energy that is being received can also be detected. And if there are any defects in between the transmitted and the received pulse, we can find it in the form of a graph. Now, the relative discontinuity can be estimated by comparing the signal amplitude to that from a known reflector, that is the back echo. Back signal echo. The reflector depth can be determined by the position of the signal on the horizontal sweep. So you can get it in the form of an energy. This is called A scan. That is, A scan displays the amount of received ultrasonic energy as a function of time. This is the energy of the pulse signal, the transmitted pulse signal. This one is that of the reflected from the back wall, and this is the defect energy signal that we have received. This is one of the methods for detecting or interpreting. So the next one is for data interpretation in ultrasonic testing is actually a B scan. In a B scan, what you're doing is the results of the ultrasonic testing or the results that we have obtained. They are actually plotted on the cross section of the specimen. That is, we are getting a cross section which is perpendicular to the plane of the plane where that is the transducer is kept. So these can actually, in addition to the displays on the in the display device, we are also getting a profile view of the test specimen. Profile view or the cross section view at right angles to which the transducer is placed. We are getting that of a test specimen. Only the reflector depth and the linear dimensions can be measured. There is a limitation to this display technique, is that reflectors, they can be masked by higher reflections near the surface. So it's actually a two-dimensional representation. Now we're going for a C scan, which is actually a three-dimensional representation. The C scan presentation, it displays a plan type view of the plan is obtained of the test specimen and also the discontinuity. So here the transducer, we are taking the image of the test specimen from the top. And also will be getting an idea. So the plan type of view of the test specimen and the discontinuities are obtained. The C-scan presentations are produced with an automated data acquisition system. We are using a data acquisition system such as immersion scanning. The combined use of A scan along with B scan and C scan is totally used. That is, all the three types, A scan, B scan, and C scan data are completely used in order to evaluate if there is a thickness measurement. The thickness measurement can be done, and also the different defects that are located away from the surface can also be determined using all three scans. Now we come to the end of this module. In the next class, we'll be taking the fifth module. Okay, so thank you.